Let's go back to Pamela Brown, who's at the U.S. Supreme Court and has a guest to talk to. Pamela, who do you have?
That's right. I'm joined by Elizabeth Wydra, CNN legal analyst and president of the Constitutional Accountability Center. Elizabeth, you also wrote a brief in favor of the abortion rights activists, so obviously this is a big win for you. What is the significance of this ruling today in this abortion case?
It's a big win because Justice Kennedy joined the more liberal justices, reaffirming that you can't make an end run around the constitutional right to have an abortion by putting up these laws that purport to protect a woman's health, but really, as the majority opinion says, have no relationship to the woman's health. In fact, the court said clearly that they are not necessary.
Not only not necessary, but unconstitutional. What is the significance of Justice Kennedy siding with the liberals on something like this?
So Justice Kennedy reaffirmed in perhaps the biggest abortion case to come to the court, which was in the early 90s, the Casey case, that you can't put an undue burden on that constitutional right to an abortion. And these Texas provisions were held to be unconstitutional as an undue burden, an obstacle to women exercising their constitutional right to have abortion. And Justice Ginsburg wrote separately to emphasize the plight of poor women who might have even more trouble traveling far distances to get to an abortion clinic, and saying that it defies rational belief to think that this is about anything other than shuttering clinics and preventing women from having abortions.
And I remember during the oral arguments I was sitting in there, she brought up New Mexico, saying, well, for some women, they'd have to go to New Mexico to get these procedures, and New Mexico doesn't have the same standards. Let's talk about the dissents here, some strong dissents from Justices Thomas and Alito. Chief Justice Roberts joined. Tell us about what they had to say.
So it's interesting because Justice Thomas would have upheld the laws, would have said they were constitutional. But Justice Alito, even though he strongly criticizes the majority, he really thinks that this is kind of a technical misread of the court's own rules. And he says that they're bending the rules because they want to get to the constitutional merits because it's an abortion case. But he would have sent the case back for further proceedings, and the Chief Justice joined that ruling. So only Thomas really here is going the furthest in saying, I would absolutely uphold these laws as constitutional.
I'll just ask you, because before this came out, we knew it was going to come out today, but we thought there was a good chance it would be sit down to lower courts to get more information. Are you surprised of the outcome here?
Well, because we have an 8-justice court, we're in unusual times. Some people thought that the court could punt and say, we're going to send it back for more information about why these clinics are closing. Is it because of these laws or not? And the majority here said, no, we have enough information in the record. It's clear that this is why the clinics are likely shutting down. And so they just went right to the constitutional issues and said, we strike these down as unconstitutional.
All right, last question for you, because a big argument for those who supported the law was that they wanted it because of Kermit Gosnell in Pennsylvania, an abortion doctor who was convicted of criminal charges. How did the justices who are striking down these two provisions respond to that?
So Justice Breyer directly addressed that, saying this was a terrible situation. The Gosnell situation was barbaric, and that he was rightly prosecuted under the criminal laws. But there's nothing to say that these particular provisions about surgical requirements and admitting privileges would have prevented that terrible conduct.
All right. Elizabeth Wydra, thank you so much. There you have it. 5-3 decision striking down these two provisions in what is considered the most significant abortion case in 2 decades. Back to you.
All right, Pamela Brown.